What's good, YouTube? Today I am continuing my journey through reading through the storyline and plotline of Marvel Rivals. Today with Volume 6, Season 6, Night at the Museum, right? So, grab your snacks, grab your food, grab your dinner, grab your lunch, grab your breakfast, sit back, relax. I'm gonna read this, you know what I mean? So, yeah, let's get into it. Night at the Museum, page number 1. One Night at the Museum. I should have expected this. When an elder of the universe such as I collects the rarest and most valuable items from across all known realities in one place, there are bound to be misguided fools who wish to get their hands on them. I built my glorious new gallery to make sure that none of my prized possessions would ever be liberated from their permanent displays. So much for that. Fortunately, I have others in my service devoted to eliminating these intruders and returning the item they absconded with. While they clean up this mess, however, I must consider exactly what they stole and why they stole it. And to do so, I must look back at how the artifact came into my possession in the first place, not so long ago. He arrived in our domain in the dead of night, a burst of flame and the stench of brimstone announcing his presence. The other elders wanted nothing to do with him. After all, we are not known for having the kindness of souls, a fact that makes our even more delectable to be Lord of the Underworld like Mephisto. I welcomed our esteemed guest to my gallery with open arms, expecting that he came here to claim the soul of a specific creature residing within my vast menagerie. But as it turned out, his focus was actually on an unusual item in my private collection. This piece of fine art built from, from a collection of precisely twisted brass pipes was as old as the multiverse itself, but as lovely as it was, its purpose had long remained an enigma to me. Still, I was reluctant to part with it, unless Mephisto had something better to offer, and as it turned out, he did indeed. Mephisto held out what seemed to be a simple piece of parchment. The paper itself had no value, but what was written on it instantly caught my attention. It was a deal for the soul of Terran woman, a woman with a familiar name, Von Doom. Knowing the chaos that Victor Von Doom had recently unleashed upon all realities, I felt it would be wise to have something in my possession that offered me leverage over him when the inevitable time came that he challenged me with my fellow elders, and to acquire it for the price of a twisted pile of scraps seemed to be the steal of the millennium. Mephisto said he was extremely satisfied that we had reached a concordance, taking the sculpture and disappearing back to wherever hell he crawled out of, and I was left with a new treasure for my gallery, at least until my fellow elder, the Grandmaster, hired some Terrans to liberate it. I never imagined they would be able to break through all of my defense measures to steal it. Wherever he is, I'm certain Mephisto is laughing at me, but these thieves will soon discover that the joke is on them. So, yeah, in this page, the collector, he's giving like a little backstory and origins of how his little menagerie and everything that came to be, how he collected this, collected that, and giving backstory on the elders and how whatever got stolen came from this person, Mephisto, and that person, and this and that. And then, so yeah, Mephisto came one night to his menagerie to deal with something. And it was stolen. And now, so he hired two people to handle those people that stole it, Rogue and Gambit. And now he's hired, well, we'll see who he hires. I mean, but sure, if you already know, if you already played it, you already know who he hires. But, we'll get to that point. But he talks about how what got stolen was, like, why I got stolen and all that and this and that. And, yeah. Now he's trying to get it back. But, yeah. Yeah, I was talking, I forgot about, he talks about having leverage over Doom with that lever, but now he's gone, so he had something to hold over Doom if he ever comes to attack the elders. So, yeah. Page number 2. Let's get to it. The True Monster. What a bloody mess you've gone and gotten yourself into, Elsa. When I signed up with the Collector, it was as a freelance monster hunter. The geezer wanted me to track down the nastiest of the nasties to lock up in his fancy cosmic zoo. Seemed like an easy gig for a girl who spent the last chunk of her nigh immortal life traveling her collapsed timeline, fending off unspeakable horrors and mapping out what was left of a broken world. But in all my years living up to the Bloodstone family legacy, I've never seen anything quite like this. Sure, the Collector's Menagerie was home to some of the creepiest crawlies that ever lived, but it was also full of normal folks, members of every species from every planet across time and space. The Collector may have been writing my paychecks, but I couldn't help but wonder if maybe the real monster was the man running the show. Questionable ethics aside, I had a job to do, and I wasn't alone. That might sound like a good thing, but somehow I'd been saddled with the worst possible partner I ever could have imagined. Wade Wilson, the GOAT, aka Deadpool, the only mercenary I know who's got more jokes than bullets. Not exactly my type of bloke. And if I didn't despise him enough already, it turned out he was the one who'd been rounding up innocent beings. While I was busy gathering the ghouls, when Wade told me that the Collector was making his captives fight each other for sport, my blood began to boil. I don't know why, because you're capturing people, but anyway. I was almost ready to hang up my shotgun, but then the alarm started blaring. Two mutants from back home on Earth had apparently run off with one of my new boss's most valuable possessions. Served him right, if I'm being honest. The Collector ordered Deadpool to track them down, fully aware that my contract implicitly stated that I hunted monsters only. He only knew that Wade would gladly betray anyone for a few lazy quid, but who my so-called partner betrayed next surprised even me. Apparently, when we recognized one of the thieves in X-Men, named Rogue, he switched sides without warning. I guess the two of them had formed an unexpectedly close bond over the years. I truly had no desire to learn the sordid details to cover his friend's tracks. Poole started smashing display cases, sorry about that, releasing dangerous creatures to buy precious time for her to escape and to keep me off their trail. See, despite appearances to the contrary, Wade isn't stupid. He realized that the Collector would find a loophole to send me after them. I may not have been willing to harm the mutants, but our boss would force me to retrieve the contract they stole. However, now there were monsters running loose through his massive museum. Wade counted on the fact that the Collector would want to minimize the damage to his gallery, and that I wouldn't let some innocent alien get eaten by a dinosaur, or infected by a brood queen, because I was chasing after some worthless scrap of paper. Clever lad. So here I am, locked, loaded, and risking my life again. Things are about to get real, messy, and all I can hope is that when this is all over, Deadpool is still here, and that I have one shell left for him. So yeah, this page is being narrated by Elsa Bloodstone, and she's giving her a backstory about how, she's immortal. She came from this time stream, from this universe and that and this and that, and then how she's working for the Collector. She's a hunter for the Collector, and she got partnered up with the GOAT himself, Wade Wilson, Deadpool, and to go after Rogue and Gambit to get back the letter that was signed by Doom, or the little note or whatever it's called. And now they have to go partner up, and then Elsa and Deadpool went after Gambit and Rogue. But little did they know, Deadpool, they didn't know that it was Rogue and Gambit they were hunting down. So, and Elsa only hunts monsters, so that's what her contract says, what she signed up for. But also Elsa got annoyed when she heard that the Collector was forcing his captives and prisoners to fight each other, which I don't know why, because you're capturing them and you're putting them in cages and you think they're just gonna be there, just sit there. But anyways, on some to make the joke, I can make the joke, and I will. On some no, I ain't gonna make it. Shut up. But yeah, so Deadpool and Elsa they're finna go hunt down Gambit and Rogue, but then Deadpool realized, hold on, that's my friend right there. That's Twin. That's Rogue. That's a fellow mutant. I ain't finna hunt her down. And then Deadpool, he flipped. immediately, just like that. And then so now Deadpool, he's breaking out the different creatures and people and monsters that are in the cages in the collector's menagerie. So he's causing a ruckus and causing a distraction so everybody could get out. And then so Elsa is trying to get everybody else out too because she doesn't want the prisoners fighting each other. And yes, that's what this page shows for the most part. And then Elsa doesn't like Deadpool, so she's aiming his gun. I mean, she's aiming her gun at him. So yeah, yeah. Deadpool, he flipped the script, and now he is betraying the collector, so he can help his friends out. And now he's trying to get everybody else out too. So yeah, this is a crazy page. I remember reading this for the first time. The page number 3, The Ballad of Wade Wilson. Here we go. Gather around now, children, and don't be afraid. I'm gonna sing you a song about a fella called Wade. You may already know him. He says it's pretty cool. He's a goat. Yeah. He's the merc with the mouth, better known as Deadpool, the goat. Now Wade will take a job for whoever floats the bill. Doesn't question who he has to man or hunt or trap or kill. But when his universe collapsed and the time stream got entangled, Wade knew he had to grab for any carrot that got dangled. The collector saw that Wade was pretty desperate for a gig, so he offered Wade a contract that was unusually big. All Wade had to do was gather unique living creatures that the collector could display in his gallery as features. Wade knew the collector's offer was more than a little sus, but he still agreed to hop on board Doctor Strange's magic bus. He traveled through the multiverse, grabbing folks around the mill. Wade justified by saying he was saving them, but still, once they were safe inside the collector's big glass cases, Wade tried to ignore the sad and desperate looks upon their faces. Deep inside, Wade knew what he was doing was still wrong, but a job's a job, at least until the X-Men came along. I gotta get that bag, get that money somehow. 2 mutants pulled a heist in the collector's Grand Museum, so Wade was sent to hunt him, but then, when he got to see him, he realized his hot pursuit would surely have to end. He couldn't bear to gun down Rogue, his closest mutant friend. Wade turned on the collector in a fit of righteous rage, helping every captive creature break free from its glass cage. It gave Rogue and her man Gambit time to make their big escape, but it also put Wade Wilson into quite the nasty scrape. It turned out that the collector hadn't hired Wade alone. He also had employed a monster hunter named Bloodstone. When Elsa came hunting all the monsters Wade let loose, our merc knew that she'd eventually cap his sweet caboose. Elsa took out monsters of all sizes and all shapes, a dinosaur, a godly frog, and probably some apes. But just when Elsa turned her gun on Wade, how rude, our hapless hero found himself assaulted by a brood. The brood was not just ugly, she was also really mean. And even worse, this space roach was a genuine brood queen. That meant when Wade was skewered by the stinger on her tail, she planted eggs inside of him. Deadpool for the fail. Nasty. The brood queen she kept attacking, leaving Wade in dire condition. As consciousness was fading, he reflected on his mission. While Elsa shot the brood queen and her bullets bounced right off her, Wade suddenly stopped caring about the dollars in his coffer. What good was money anyway? It was time to find some peace. Life was only temporary, and he outstayed his lease. And if now was his time to go, it wasn't all so bad. He might die in this museum, but at least he'd be a dad. This page is so nasty. Just look at it. So yeah, obviously this page is like a little rhyming type, like funny page about Deadpool coming to be and him working for the collector, and how everything going on in this very moment with them breaking out all the prisoners and the captives in the cages. And now Deadpool he got stung by the brood queen, and now she put his eggs in him. Now he's pregnant, basically. It's just nasty. It's just nasty. Look at it. And then, he's just kind of like fading in and out. And Yeah, he might die because of what's going on. So what? Look at him. It's just nasty. And then also trying to fight off the Brood Queen, but her bullets has no effect on it. So yeah, so a nice little like funny little page with some bars on it. Some bars on it. Whoops. Page number 4, panel number 1. Let's go. The New Marauders. Go over this for me one more time, Emma, Iron Man said from the helm of the New Marauder, just to make sure I've got it right. I thought you were one of the most brilliant men alive, Tony, Emma responded. I am. Iron Man said, I upgraded your fancy yacht with a fully functional deep space transport, didn't I? It's just the mission itself I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I suppose I can't fault you for failing to comprehend Deadpool's brand of lunacy, Emma replied. I've gotten used to it over time, but this is particularly bizarre, even for him. Excuse me. I know what's happened in the collector's gallery, Iron Man said. After that, that's when things truly spiraled out of control, Emma said. Gambit and Rogue were fugitives, and Deadpool had changed sides to help him. As a distraction, he released some of the most dangerous creatures in the collector's menagerie. But after he and that red-haired huntress sparred for several rounds, he turned his escape plan into a rescue mission. It was the last thing I expected from him, Solak said as she and the ship's other crew members, Venom and the Punisher, entered the bridge. He's full of surprises, Emma said, and they just kept coming. Deadpool had clearly intended to use that enchanted school bus he stole from the Doctor Strange as an escape vessel, but the contemplator's spirit energy transformed it into a garish monstrosity that I can't even begin to describe. It was a pool float, Venom chimed in, shaped like a ducky. Yes, well, Emma continued, there was no way it could have held all of the creatures Deadpool was trying to liberate, but that's when my sweet baby swam in to save the day. You're talking about that, oh my god, this terrorist. But about that shark, right? The Punisher asked. His name is Jeffrey. Ugh. Emma snapped, and he is a land shark, one who apparently had ingested a healthy dose of pin particles at some point. I remember that Salok said it was back when we first escaped the collector's gallery together. My handsome little man used those particles to shrink down the refugees and load them onto the Ducky, Emma said. Then they traveled through the Grand Garden until they reached the Contemplator's sensor. Using the sensor to fill the lifeboat with mysterious gas, and Deadpool suddenly vented it, launching them into the depths of space. And now we're scouring their stars, searching for them. Iron Man said, do you realize how big space is, Emma? Our chances of hiding them are smaller than Ant-Man's. We have located them, Venom interrupted my fault. Much to Tony's surprise, Jeffrey wore a symbiote not long ago, so we can still feel him through our hive mind. Well, how about that? Iron Man shrugged. Guess our mission's a success after all. Should be smooth sailing from here on. Don't jinx us, darling, Emma replied, cautiously. After all, it's a long journey back to Krakoa, and we're about to welcome Deadpool on board. Anything could happen. So yeah, in this page right here, the New Marauder pulls up with some of the heroes on it. Emma, Punisher, Venom, Psylocke, and all that. So they're pulling up to the Collector's Menagerie to help out the other heroes, Gambit, Rogue, the terrorist himself, Jeff, and Deadpool. And also probably somewhere around there. But you got then so they use pin particles to shrink down the creatures that got taken. And right there you can see them in Jeff's hand. You got Devil Dinosaur, you got Howard the Duck. Don't know who the purple person is, so forgive me. You got Cosmo, Dog, you got Throg, Dwarf Frog. And yeah, so then it's all basically like conversation about how, they're going back and forth about, Emma and Tony talking, and then Venom talking about how they don't know how to get everybody on the ship, but then they use the pin particles to get them on the ship. And then they're, making snarky remarks at each other. It's about some, I thought you were the smart person ever, Emma said to Tony. And then, so yeah, he took up the whole Marauder ship, her yacht, so he could be like a space traveling vessel. So yeah, now they're pulling up to the menagerie, and now they went to the Grand Garden to use the Conspirators thing to, I think, fuel up their ship or whatever, so they can get through the different, so they keep going and they won't get caught. So yeah. Panel number 2. Here we go. There and back again. We've been here before, Cher. Said our vows and celebrated our love. And then, right on cue, our world fell to pieces. But even after all we've gone through together since the first time I put a ring on that pretty little finger of yours, well, tried to at least, there's still no doubt in my mind that I'd say I do a million more times. Oh. Not gonna lie, though, for a minute there I wasn't sure we'd get another chance to finish what we started. The Collector had us on the run. Deadpool launched us into space, and even after we got rescued by Emma and her new creatures of Marauders, our new crew of Marauders, I wasn't convinced the Quiet Council was ever going to let us come back to Krakoa, not after what Magneto told you back in the Grand Garden. He said you was a threat to our people, that your powers were out of control, but instead of running away from it all, you took it as a challenge. You harnessed that power and proved him wrong. Just like you've proved so many people wrong about you so many times in your life. That's one of the things I love most about you. Anna Marie, you don't care what other people gotta say. You follow your heart, and I'm the luckiest man alive that it led you to me. Not sure I've always been worthy of the love you give me, showing. But I've been trying my best. That whole caper in space was just my way of getting you the perfect ring after your first one got sucked into the time stream. Even though my deal with the Grandmaster fell apart, Emma helped me finish the job. She turned that Carnovium die the Grandmaster had time to reclaim into a pair of wedding rings. The crystal's power may be long gone, but it still sparkles almost as bright as your eyes. Hope it's enough to show you how much Jitsime. It looks like the love we share may be inspiring others too. Just look at Stormy over there, finally open up enough to give the Panther a chance. And well, truth told, I don't know what's going on with Loki and Mantis, so I'm just gonna leave that one alone. Of course, there are also those who didn't make it to here to celebrate with us this time around. Folks like Scotty, who stood by us. When is she going to be added into the game? Rivals, Nadish, Fantasy Studios, Gongguanjian, who stood by us. This all started. But who ain't made it home yet? And while our honeymoon across the stars may already be over, that ain't gonna stop me from searching every corner of this here universe till all our friends are back safe and sound. Till then, let's raise a glass in their honor, cut the cake, and finally get our first official dance as a married couple before Deadpool's new pals rip the dance floor to shreds. Even the universe does fall apart again. In the middle of it all, I ain't worried, because I got you at my side, Madame LeBeau. Now and forever. Oh, look at them. So yeah, obviously in this page is Given the road, they made it back to Krakoa, safe with everybody else. The little rescue mission was a success. They got everybody back, and now they're back home to Krakoa, and now they are holding another wedding ceremony because that first one got interrupted by the time stream breaking apart and them getting sent to different multiverses and universes, different timelines. So yeah, now they're holding another ceremony, and now they have the Carnovium dye wedding rings that Emma made for them. Doesn't have the powers that they used to, but yeah, he got it back. And they're holding like a little sweet moment together. Gambit's like pouring out his heart to Rogue and trying to apologize for, everything that's been going on with, the Grandmaster deal that he had that he got duped on and them getting hunted down and them have to, be on the run and then them being rescued and then have to be sent back to Krakoa. So, yeah. Had a little wedding ceremony, they're back. How sweet. Anyways, panel number 3. Here we go. Haze of Future Past. Every girl's got an idea in her head of her perfect wedding. Mine, well, it didn't go exactly as I hoped it would. At least not the first time around. So after our little honeymoon across the galaxy came to an end, me and Remy decided to renew our vows in front of all our friends, old and new. It ended up being the kind of ceremony I had been dreaming of all these years. All these years. Honestly, I couldn't be happier until I got back to our wedding suite. That is, don't worry, Remy didn't do nothing wrong this time. He'd been the perfect gentleman all night long. So after I danced to a few too many of Dazzler's songs, I quietly excused myself and let my hubby keep the bond temps rolling with our guests. I had barely kicked off my fancy shoes before I realized I wasn't alone in the room. I thought maybe Remy had come back early to surprise me, but when I turned around, I saw my own face reflected in the metal mask of Doc Doom, the one from his future Krakoa ended up in. Emma told me about how he betrayed her at the Hellfire Gala. Excuse me, and it looked like he was back to crash another party. Naturally, I lunged straight toward him, ready to land a super-powered fist to his tin-plated face. But before I could get the satisfaction, he shot me with some sort of high-tech weapon that instantly shut off my mutant abilities. While I was down and out, he searched the room until he found what he was looking for. The contract that Remy and I stole from the collector's gallery. Soon as he had his hands on it, Doom fell to his knees, ripping off his mask and crying out in agony. When he dropped the contract between us, it was suddenly clear why he wanted it so bad. The name sign at the bottom, Cynthia Von Doom. I could feel the effects of his weapons wearing off. My mutant powers were coming back, and I only had a split second to act. So without even thinking, I took my glove, and touched the exposed skin on Doom's cheek. Never could have expected that. What comes next? Usually, when I touch someone, I'm flooded with every single memory from their past, but this Doom, he didn't have any. It's like his history was an empty void. His identity was a mystery, even to himself, but he still knew deep in his bones that his contract was the key to unlocking his lost truth. I had never felt anything quite like it. The total absence of self was overwhelming. I didn't realize I had passed out till Remy burst into the room and woke me up. By then, Doom was long gone, and the contract was gone with him. But the feeling stayed with me, and I've got the sneaking suspicion that just like my wedding itself, this is the start of a whole new chapter. And so on this page, Rogue's narrating about how they made it back to Krakoa. Oops. They made it back to Krakoa, and they're holding the whole, they're renewing their vows, and they're having a ceremony. And, she, danced a little too much. And now she went back to her wedding suite, but then come to find out that Doom was there. She thought it was maybe Remy, but, Doom snuck up in there to take back the contract that had Doom's mom's name signed on it, Cynthia Von Doom. But, she tried to attack him, and then she shot her with a gun that took away her powers, her mutant abilities. And so he was crying out because this letter held so much like weight on him, I guess, because his mom had a contract signed to Mephisto, and he kind of wants to break her free from this whole contract from Mephisto. And he's crying in agony, he's going through it. And then so Rogue she got her powers back, and then she touches his cheek, and she said it wasn't usually how her powers usually work, because she just felt kind of like how he felt, I think, right? So she said. I don't know, she said it was empty void, that's what it was. It's kind of like an empty void, so she didn't feel anything. And he escaped from the room. He took the letter too. So so now they don't have the letter anymore that they risked their lives over. So final page number 5. Here we go. Monsters Take Manhattan. Wow, what a season, kids. Who wants a quick recap, because they were too busy mastering my moves and didn't bother to read the other gallery cards. Actually, I just read the other gallery cards, but whatever. I thought so. Well, lucky for you, Uncle Wade is in a sharing mode. It all started with Gambit and Rogue on the run for selling a contract from the Collector's Cosmic Museum, remember? I was sent to stop him, but I couldn't bring myself to hunt Anna Marie for any price. So instead, I switched things up and let loose all the Collector's creepiest creatures. The big red dinosaur, the frog with the itty bitty hammer, all of them. It was... Where was I? Oh, it was supposed to keep Elsa Bloodstone occupied, but when she eventually did catch up, she let me go anyway. After all, I was pregnant and vulnerable at the time. Guess she realized my heart was in the right place, even if my head wasn't. We escaped on an enchanted raft. An enchanted raft. Got rescued from deep space by the crew of Emma Frost's flying yacht and returned safely to Krakoa in time for a redo of Gambit and Rogue's wedding. And that was that. Everyone got their happy endings, except for the collector's manager of monsters, including the baby brood I spawned along the way. The less details about that fiasco, the better. There are kids playing this game. I know I couldn't call this mission a success until I found them a new place to call home. But where on earth could freaks of nature like them ever hope to fit into society? At all. In society. There was only one answer, Staten Island. But I couldn't just let them free to roam amok in New York City's least respected borough, though, could I? I needed a plan, and that's when Elsa Bloodstone yanked me off the dance floor and suggested that I stay with my new pals to keep them in line. At first, I wasn't keen on the idea of seeing that I'm a hired mercenary who doesn't really do the whole pro bono thing, but I had a sudden change of heart when she told me if I ditched them the way I ditched Jeff back in the day, there'd always be some other collector sniffing around this ragtag crew of monster pals. It also helped that she offered a significant chunk of her family fortune to fund the endeavor. And that brings us to now. Magic and Scarlet Witch worked together to open a portal across time and space, bringing me back to New York of my era. And with a little help from my beastly buddies and my old pal Jeffy, I'm building a new monster kingdom, and every kingdom needs a king, right? Wanna guess who gets to wear the crown? It's me, Deadpool. Still, even with a holy, all-consuming mission blazing inside my heart, I can't seem to get the ferry to take me over to Manhattan. Rumor has it whoever is in charge over there has put the city on lockdown. Guess it's a good thing your boy Wade has a way of showing up wherever he's least wanted. So, yeah. Half this page is basically, going back over what happened in the rest of the other pages. So I'm going to go over that. But then, Scarlet Witch and Magic open a portal back to the Manhattan and Deadpool's timeline. So he took all the creatures that were in the Collector's Menagerie back to his timeline, his time stream in Manhattan and Staten Island. And, Elsa was kind of like lecturing him and like scolding him about he shouldn't leave his brood kids, creatures that he had alone, and like leave them alone like he did Jeff back then. So, because like they probably get captured, so he shouldn't leave them alone. And so yeah, he's like, okay, so I'm gonna stay this time with everybody, all his creatures that I had. I'm gonna give them a place to stay in this area in Staten Island, in my house. So yeah, he's become the ruler of that Monster Kingdom right there. And now he's back in New York in his timeline. And now he finds out that, oh, okay, hold on. This place is on lockdown, so there's no like transport for real. And so now in the next season, we're going to figure out what's going on with that. So no spoilers yet. We'll get to that in the next video. But yeah. That is Season 6, Volume 6, Night at the Museum. And yeah, let me know if I missed anything, or anything I glanced over that I may have forgotten about, or I didn't go over. But yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Thank you for your time. And yeah, next video we will continue with Season 7, Volume 7. But yeah, I'm done chatting. I'm out.